Welcome back to the Professor's Lab. I'm Professor V, and this is round 2 of a special league tournament where players could switch decks between rounds that happened at Die Hard Games on January 4th, 2024. If you didn't know, Die Hard League happens every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, featuring casual and tournament play of whatever format anyone wants, really. More info in the description. League Challenge, Thursday, January 11th at 6 p.m. Central at Die Hard Games. And check out Pokemon's event locator for more premier events there, such as league challenges, league cups, and pre-releases. Please hit that like button right quick. Subscribe to this channel. Ring the bell for notifications. Say what you need to say in the comments and all that other good free stuff. But anyways, let's get into this very, very long game. On the left, Lost Cramorant. On the right, Lost Zone, a Lost Zone variant as well. Our player on the right went first, and they drew and they passed. Not good against a Lost Zone variant where Cramorant's staring you down. Cramorant has the ability Lost Provisions. If there are 4 or more cards in the Lost Zone, it can attach for free. So our player here on the left is going to try to get 4 cards into the Lost Zone, so that way Cramorant can KO the only Pokemon on the opponent's side, and by doing that, take the game. So let's see what happens here. You go all in on that play for sure. So we're going to need to see 2 flower selectings from 2 different Comfey, as well as a course experiment to get those 4 cards into the Lost Zone, or 4 flower selectings, I guess. Either way, going to start things off with an energy switch item card. Search the deck for a basic energy card and put it into your hand. Our Lost Cramorant player took a look through their deck there and failed the energy search, but gained some valuable knowledge of what was in deck. Nest Ball now being played to search the deck for a basic Pokemon to add to the bench. Gonna go straight for that League Comfey. Remember, we need the game plan at least is 2 Comfeys to do 2 flower selectings to send 2 cards to the Lost Zone. Then hit that course experiment to send 2 more cards to the Lost Zone, filling it up to 4, and then having that Cramorant come into the active spot and attack. Let's see if our Lost Cramorant player can pull it off. I see some switch cards, that's good, and the course experiment, very good. That supporter lets you draw the top 5 cards of your deck, send 2 of them to the Lost Zone, and put the other 3 into the hand. So I think we're looking for a VIP pass, some way to find more Pokemon. Clara and TM Devolution hitting the Lost Zone there. A Defiance Band being put onto the active Cramorant, Pat to the Peak being put into play, and Lost Vacuum being played. That item card, you send a card to the Lost Zone from your hand, and then you may send, wow, a tool card or a stadium card on the field into the Lost Zone as well. So there was actually another way to get those 4 cards in the Lost Zone than the ones I told you. Lost Vacuum. So there we go. Our Lost Cramorant, player has 4 cards in the Lost Zone. Now nothing left to do but to spit disrespectfully onto the opposing Sableye. 110 damage for the KO, since that's the opponent's only Pokemon in play, and it got KO'd. That's the win condition for the Lost Cramorant player. Alright, I will keep going with this. The recording kept going here to capture some more content if the players are going to play again. Let's see. Yep, they're setting up for this rematch battle. Of course, the Lost Cramorant player took the round, since these are best of 1, but we're here to play some Pokemon tonight and have some fun, so let's just keep doing that. And it is Sableye versus Radiant Charizard. We'll see who goes first here this time. I believe the Lost Zone player on the right chose to go second here, Since they lost the first game, they're kind of treating it as a best of um, three, we'll say. So our player on the right is going second. Lost Cramorant player on the left, starting things off with a double nest ball. Who needs Battle VIP pass when you got double nest ball? Both nest balls finding a Comfey. That's exactly what the Lost Zone engine likes, at least 2 Comfey in play. Now we just need a way to get one of those Comfey into the active spot and move that heavy Radiant Charizard out of there. Escape Rope will do the trick, sending Comfey into the active spot, and that Comfey uses Flower Selecting. Take a look at the top 2 cards of the deck. Keep one of them and send the other to the Lost Zone. Clara is sent to the Lost Zone. Another Escape Rope is played, sending the second Comfey into the active. It uses Flower Selecting to look at the top 2. And Path to the Peak actually is going to get sent to the Lost Zone, kept in favor of Energy Search, I believe. That item card searches the deck for a basic energy, Fire being found here. And we'll see if it goes onto the Charizard, preparing it for the late game, or if it's used for something else. Going straight onto the Charizard. Love the base set reverse hollow energy. And passing things over to our Lost Zone player on the right, they start things off with the infamous Battle VIP pass. You can only play that item on your first turn, but when you do, you search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, up to 2 to put onto the bench. Double Comfey is probably what we're going to see. Yep, just depends on what's in hand, but double Comfey being found in this instance. They hit the bench, and I imagine there's a way to retreat in the hand to get these Flower Selecting started and start growing the Lost Zone. These Lost Zone decks like 4, 7, and 10 cards in the Lost Zone. We'll talk about that as we come to it. Escape Rope being played, the opponent promotes a new active Pokemon first, then you do the same. Comfey hits the active spot and uses Flower Selecting. Look at the top 2, send one to the Lost Zone. Keep the other. Switch cart sent to the Lost Zone. Battle VIP pass kept and played. The Hollow League one is going to find a third Comfey and a Cramorant here. So we must definitely have ways to move around on the board in hand. And we just want to do more Flower Selectings, or play some Course Experiment and grow the Lost Zone in the hand. It's the name of the game here. Switch cart, switching into the second Comfey. Ability used here. Debating on which card to keep. And actually going to send the VIP pass into the Lost Zone. There's enough Pokemon in play, right? Especially in favor of the other card that they thought was more important. Double Turbo in hand. Interesting. That's attached and to the active, so that way it can retreat, use Flower Selecting, send the Battle VIP pass to the Lost Zone, and play a Pokegear 3.0. That item card lets you look at the top 7 cards of the deck and add a supporter card you find there to your hand. Pokegear 3.0 hits a Course Experiment, and that goes into the hand, and we're going to see this turn continue and more cards sent to the Lost Zone. With the double turbo energy, I think that telegraphs that this is a Lost Radiant Charizard build of the Lost Zone deck. I don't think I've seen a Greninja, Radiant Greninja yet, but we'll see. Course Experiment being played to take a look at the top 5 cards of the deck. Send 2 of them to the Lost Zone, keep the other 3. Our player has to decide what are the best cards to keep, which ones are the worst. Can I lose and win the game with Lost? Hisuian Heavy Ball, and Lost Vacuum sent to the Lost Zone. And passing things over to our Lost Cramorant player. Lots of cards in the Lost Zone on the right. Articuno hits the bench there. Its ability boosts water Pokemon's attack by 10 damage, except Articuno. So it adds 10 damage to Cramorant's Spit Innocently 110. And the ability stacks too. So just the right number can be achieved with this Lost Cramorant deck, it seems. Let me back things up here. Let's go back in time. Articuno hits the bench there on the left, and Flower Selecting being activated, sending a Course Experiment to the Lost Zone to keep the other Course Experiment. Wow. All four of them were in a row. What are the chances of that? Let me know in the comments. Course Experiment, looking at the top 5 cards of the deck, keeping the best 3. You imagine those 2 chorus kind of have to be kept, right? At least one of them. But it just depends on what are the other cards in hand. I think I've seen a Defiance Man. That can probably be let go here in this matchup. Our Lost Cramorant player may not be quite sure what variant of Lost Zone their opponent is playing. But there's probably some math that could still matter with the Defiance Man in this matchup. I can't quite see what that is behind the Lost Vacuum that was gotten rid of, but either way, 2 more cards hit the Lost Zone there. Its count is at 5, and a Nest Ball is played to search the deck for a basic Cramorant and put it onto the bench. We've got our attacker here, and as long as there's a way to move it into the active spot, we've got a KO as well. Alright, so we resolve the Nest Ball. No need to go back into the deck at this point, so let's get that all shuffled up. And let's see what else our Lost Cramorant players got for us. A pass, so no way to move into the active spot. I think you do, if you can. But passing things over to the Lost Zone player on the right, who does a Flower Selecting, sending Jirachi to the Lost Zone. Next plays a Fog Crystal to search the deck for a basic Psychic Energy or a basic Psychic Pokemon. Basic Psychic Energy found here. The most shiny, sparkly one that we could see tonight. And yep, we definitely have a KO on the opposing Pokemon with a Cramorant attack. Cramorant can attack for free since there's more than 4 cards in the Lost Zone. Can almost do a Sableye, but attach the energy to the active to retreat into Cramorant. Cramorant spits innocently for 110 damage, more than enough to KO the opposing Comfey. And now our Lost Cramorant player needs to decide which Pokemon to promote. Probably a Comfey, but we know that there's really no way to retreat in hand, so go straight into the Cramorant since that's what I want to attack with and take a KO, as well as taking a KO and removing your opponent's one of your opponent's attacker from the board. And now the turn starts. Arvin being played, so we would have had the switch card. But either way, let's just advance our hand. Arvin is the supporter that lets you search your deck for an item card and a tool card. Nest Ball to stream attackers and Pokemon, and Bravery Charm being put onto the active Cramorant, giving it plus 50 HP. 160 HP the Cramorant has now in the active. Cramorant hits the bench thanks to that Nest Ball. So we've got the backup attacker as well, and things are flowing a little bit better in this for fun game 2. Maybe I should have split these up and made 2 different videos, but we're sticking with this This is better, right? Spit disrespectfully on the opposing Cramorant, taking the KO. Comfey hits the active spot on the right, and play resumes there. I see a nest ball in hand, so we could find more Pokemon, more attackers if they're in there. I'm not sure what the Cramorant count is in this version of Lost Zone. I don't think we've seen any fire energy yet either, but there we go. There's a second Cramorant. So yeah, if I was a betting man and I needed to take a bet, I'd bet this is Lost Charizard. Radiant Charizard, of course. Nestball finds Cramorant. Now is there a way to retreat and remove the opposing Bravery Charm? Let's see, Escape Rope doesn't quite get there either, so gonna Flower Selecting, sending Nestball to the Lost Zone, potentially finding that course experiment that's just played. Now we need to decide of these 5 cards which the Lost Zone, the Roxanne, and the TM Devolution. Keep the other 3. TM Devo is another hint of Lost Radiant Charizard. Psychic Energy attached to the bench Sableye. Escape Rope being played. We're going mining, I think. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards in the Lost Zone. We need 10, so Comfey hitting the active spot using Flower Selecting, sending, yep, the 4th useless Comfey to the Lost Zone. Just kidding. Now we have our Lost Zone at 10, so Lost Mine is online. Switch carding into that Lost Miner Sableye. As long as there's 10 or more cards in the Lost Zone, it can put 12 damage counters on the opponent's Pokemon in any way they like. It looks like taking the KO, 70 on the or 7 on the active Comfey. No, actually 6 on the active Comfey and 6 on the Charizard, so we're setting up some big math plays here. Passing things over to Lost Cramorant. Another Cramorant hits the bench. So we gotta watch out for those switch cards healing damage. Arvin being played to search the deck for a tool and an item. I think I've seen a switch card. So, yeah, definitely the item that would be grabbed. Switch cart and Bravery Charm. Very nice. The deck is just flowing at this point. So the switch cart, whenever the active Pokemon is moved from the active to the bench spot, 30 damage is healed, taking away some of that effectiveness, Lost Mine effectiveness. Not before a Flower Selecting to send a Hisuian Heavy Ball to the Lost Zone, keep the other card. Switch card being played, healing 30 damage, and switching into the bravest Cramorant. The Bravery Charm actually being put onto the bench Comfey to give it more HP, protecting it. Very good. And a Path to the Peak being put into play, shutting down Rulebox Pokemon abilities. Pretty solid turn so far for our Lost Cramorant player. Anything else? The Spit innocently for 110 on the opposing 80 HP Sableye, knocking it out. Comfey promoted into the active spot, and play resumes on the right Lost Zone player and their side. Let's see how they can respond. Flower Selecting, looking at the top 2, sending Pokegear 3.0 to the Lost Zone. We need a Lost Vacuum to get rid of that Bravery Charm. Sableye hitting the bench. Psychic Energy attached to it. A Sableye attack would be good too. That would take at least a KO and keep the prize trade going. Escape Rope being played here. The opponent needs to promote an active Pokemon first. The damaged, bravest Comfey being put into the active spot. no more cards really being needed to be found off of Flower Selecting at this point, I guess. And our Lost Zone play on the right is trying to decide if they want to attack with Sableye or Cramorant this turn, is my guess. Sableye actually being picked, putting more damage. Oh no, taking the KO actually on the Radiant Charizard with the energy attached. That's good. And then putting the remaining damage on the Articuno. Looks like there was 10 left. No, we're splitting the damage up actually. Looks like there was 20 left and 10 were put on the Cramorant and the Articuno each. We'll go with that for now as play resumes on our lost Cramorant side. The bravest Comfey that survived is going to use Flower Selecting to look at the top 2 cards and send Manaphy to the Lost Zone. We're betting there's no Greninja, it seems. Switch being played to switch into the bravest Cramorant. And nothing else to do but take the KO. If I said Cramorant's been doing 110 damage this whole time, it's actually doing 120 thanks to Articuno's Ice Symbol, I think is what it's called, its ability that boosts Cramorant's attack by 10 damage. The Defiance Ban being put onto the bench. Cramorant and Course Experiment being played to move along through the deck. Looking at the top 5, keeping 3, lost zoning 2. Let's see what's found here. Counter Catcher. It looks like our players might be ending the game here. Yeah, that's what it looks like they're saying. I would Counter Catcher one of your Pokemon, maybe discussing future moves. But ending this game because the round must be over. That's my guess and what we're going to go with for this video. But there we go. It was pretty hard for me to see who would win that second for fun game. But either way, it was very cool watching. Thanks to the players for playing it out there. And what did you guys think of this video and the commentary? Please let me know in the comments. Like this video, subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time in the Professor's Lab.